16 student teachers. We're glad to have you here. The students have worked very hard for this process, and this is our final presentation for today as we get to hear about the Teach Ag journey of Olivia Murphy-Sweet as she prepares for her internship at W.B. Saul in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This will have 3 phases as we go through it. The first phase will be the public presentation, where Olivia will answer 3 questions. Who do I aspire to be as a teacher? What opportunities have I engaged in to become a better agricultural educator? And finally, how am I prepared to maximize my student teaching experience? We will follow that with questions. We'll accept questions from our live audience, our virtual audience as we're live streaming across the nation, and from the teacher education panel. Once we've completed those questions, we will clear the room and do the final evaluation component of this presentation. We would encourage you now to think about coming back tomorrow where we have 5 more great presentations starting at 8:45 in the morning. Without further ado, Miss Olivia Murphy-Sweet.
Good afternoon, guys. Thank you all so much for coming. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to come watch my presentation. So before I begin, I have a little bit of a twist on my presentation. I have something that I need to tell you. It's a little embarrassing, okay? So I kind of live my life like a pirate. I steal people's ideas. I take their things that they teach in their classrooms, and I kind of incorporate it into my own. So up front, I have my teacher treasure chest. And I know you guys are really intrigued and you're really interested about what is in there, but I'm not going to tell you right now, okay? I'm going to be asking for volunteers later on, so this is going to be a really good interactive session for you guys to participate, get a little embarrassed, have a lot of fun with this. So without further ado, here are the essential questions that I will be answering for you guys today. I will be answering who do I, as Miss Murphy-Sweet, aspire to be as a teacher? What experiential education opportunities have I engaged in to become a better agricultural educator? And how am I prepared to maximize my student teaching internship opportunity? So my first objective, who do I aspire to be as a teacher? In the creation of agriculture educators here at Penn State, we have to create our teaching philosophy. Ian Tickney once said, I believe in the future of agriculture, and that is who I am today. I believe that my students in my classroom have a vision for change they would like to see that would happen in the agricultural industry. And that is what I want to try to incorporate and put in my students' minds to create those innovative ideas and to push my students to be creative and to push themselves for their career success. In an agricultural education program, we have this thing called the 3-circle model. I know that some of my friends here aren't really involved with agriculture education, so I kind of want to share with you what the 3-circle model is. It involves classroom instruction, a supervised agricultural experience, and FFA leadership. All of those put together combine what the agriculture education experience is supposed to be like on a high school level. So whenever I go into my classroom, I want to make sure that my students are incorporating everything in the 3-circle model, starting with my classroom instruction. So here's just an example of a model program curriculum that I would like to have. It has everything from animal science to agricultural mechanics, soils, and wildlife management. Here's just an example of some model program curriculum for my scope and sequence. What I kind of did as a different twist with mine is that I wanted to make sure that my students, as they were 9th graders, they came in and they were prepared and everybody was taught on the same level. So they have to take that introduction to agriculture science as their first class in FFA. But having that as a really good base curriculum for them to learn and to then see what kind of path they would like to take throughout their agriculture career. From then on, if they would like to take animal science or agriculture mechanics, they would have to take those as their prerequisite courses. The reason I chose that was because safety is very important whenever it comes to agriculture education, especially regarding agricultural mechanics. So that is one thing that I definitely would like to incorporate whenever I have my own program. So for some classroom management ideas, so up front you will see that I have some classroom management posters. Those kind of signify to my students what is actually going to happen whenever they are involved in my class. So starting with my classroom expectations. The reason I created this, there's many different aspects of that. We all respect each other, we all are a team, we celebrate each other's successes, we try our best and we learn from mistakes. I want to have my classroom environment be open and comfortable for students to come in and be creative, not be afraid to be goofy, and have people shut them down for their mistakes. So those are my classroom expectations that I would like to have. Some The classroom procedure is this typical whenever you guys remember back to your high school and elementary school years. What is the first thing that happens when you're going to get into the classroom? So as soon as my students get there, I like to have my little line of on time is the best time. The students have to come on time before the bell rings, or they're going to be late. They're going to complete the bell work. A bell work is an opportunity to open up the lesson as an introduction about what the students will be learning. They'll turn in all assignments, such as homework or projects. Engage in all classroom activities. They'll be respectful, and they'll be you. So I definitely want to make sure that, like I said before, that I'm cultivating this interactive classroom so that students do feel comfortable whenever they come there. And of course, make today a stellar day because it makes the kids happy, and they kind of laugh at me whenever I say this because I am a goober whenever it comes to teaching. And so whenever I say make today a stellar day, I know that I always get a couple little smiles. Thank you, Julia, for demonstrating that. Shayna. Some classroom consequences. All right, on the flip side, I know nobody really likes to talk about this. So if things happen in my classroom where there's like mistakes that will be made, there'll be a verbal warning. That'll be their first sign that something has gone wrong. Because if they don't know what they did wrong, how they're going to be able to fix their mistakes, make sure that they don't get to number 2, which is the removal from the classroom setting. Have another line: you abuse it, you lose it. Agriculture, education, safety needs to be our #1 priority with our students. Next would be a phone call home to our parents. And then last would be the referral to the office. I like to kind of keep these first 3 kind of in-house in the agriculture area, because if you refer your student to the office all the time, they will lose respect for you as an educator, and they'll just say, oh, she's sending you to the principal again. So I would like to handle these first 3 things in-house on my own, and then if things progress to the next level, they will be referred to the office. So I did take a look at Walter Biddle-Saul's discipline options as well, and I kind of bottled my consequences like they did. So they had verbal warning, go to the office, and they receive a phone call home. So that just kind of shows the relationship between Walter Biddle-Saul and what I have set in place. All right, next is my lab integration plan. I will be handing this around to you guys, and you guys feel free to take a look. It basically shows that I have safety contracts for all of my students. There are safety quizzes that need to be maintained, and as well as security in the agriculture mechanics lab. So it kind of just shows that all students will be trained with every single piece of machinery and things that they will be using in the class. And there will be certain checkpoints and checks and balances with the tools and machineries that we do have in the lab. So here's just an example about what I would like to set up for my ag class. As you can see up the top, I'll have a teacher office, have the ag classroom right there. There'll be windows in the teacher's office as well. There'll be workstations right there in the middle for students to create their projects. There'll be welding areas, and of course some wood shop machinery, some tool storage, and then a garage door in case we have big projects come in, or things like the fruit sale. Whenever we need to let the truck open and let all the citrus come in, we have that availability for that space. All right, next. So I know some of you guys were looking up here, but part of the agriculture education program is that we get to create our own projects that we would like to see happen at our school. So I created this project called Plumbing with Plants. It kind of incorporates using all different aspects of plumbing, and then what's going to happen, I don't really have it illustrated here, but you'll put water down in this tube, and then different plants will grow out right here, like kind of like a hydroponic system. So we'll have different plants and see how they grow in these different things. You can pass it around, like take a look at it. All right, next is my pedagogical abilities. Rosenstein and First is a kind of a theory that we learned here at in our agriculture classrooms. They had some different methods of effective teachers. And so I'm going to be showing you a video about some classes that I've taught and how I've been able to show variability of my lessons by incorporating different hands-on materials or like using demonstrations in my class. So I'll be showing you a video. Okay, we want to have goats in our animal science class.
How can we show goats in our animal science class because it's good hands-on experience?
And that's why. Alright, power clap for 1, 2, 3. How big do you think that would be? Would it be like the largest one or like down here in the middle? Like this is our big size right here. Do you think Stan let's say this is the largest, this is the smallest particle size. Where do you think that would go on this? So as you see in that video, those are just two different ways that I've used variability in my lesson plans. There is a longer video if you'd like to check it out on YouTube. I can give you the link for that later. But so the two things that I incorporated in there was a typical fly swatter game as a review game to teach our students different things that they're learning in the instruction at that time. And then I also taught one of the classes here with some of the senior members of the cohort. We have a lab where we are able to kind of practice our teaching, get in the swing of things before we go student teach next semester. And I was able to demonstrate different soil particle sizes during that lesson, in case you couldn't hear. All right, so my next part of what I will be doing next semester, I will be doing a community integration and involvement unit. What that kind of means is that I'm going to bring my class into the community and help do a project with them. So what I decided to do was, in my companion animals unit, I have 15 students that I will be teaching next semester. What's going to happen is I'm going to divide those groups into 5 groups of 3 students, and they're going to be going to the local elementary school, which is right down the road from us, and they'll be teaching about urban animals and safety in regarding animals in an urban setting. So it just kind of gives the students the feeling that they know what is going on. They can teach it. They'll feel more confident with this educational knowledge that they'll be gaining, as well as they kind of get to have a little bit of fun with some elementary school kids. All right, so our next component of the 3-circle model is the SAE integration. Now, SAE is a supervised agricultural experience. This is where our students get to go out into the community and kind of show what they know, is what I like to say. And they're able to have apply what they learned in the classroom to some hands-on activities, such as they can get a job on a farm, they can have a placement SAE where they can work as a cashier. That's what I did whenever I was a student. They can have a research SAE. There's many more options for students to kind of pick what they like and then develop their own project. So I like to say SAE equals hands-on experiences, which equals our career success for our students. That is our big push that we like to have here in my Ag Ed program. FFA integration, our next part of the 3-circle model. This is where there is an organization that is developed in the Ag Ed program where students get to learn about premier leadership, personal growth, and career success in the typical club organization-like setting. So at my school, at Walter Biddlesall High School, I have 500 students that are all enrolled in FFA, in agriculture classes, and most who have SAE projects. All right, so I know that I'm talking a lot about what I would like to see happen in my chapter. So another thing that we did here as a project at Penn State is we created our own recruitment video. So I'm going to fast forward into some of them, but I'd like to show you guys. But we all worked together to create this video to recruit students to come into our agriculture programs. So let's...
The unique classroom opportunity in agriculture education. Our ag teachers implement the 3-circle model, which is made up of classroom instruction, supervised agriculture experience, and FFA. Let's take a look at what some of our students do here every day.
Through classroom instruction, I have had many opportunities to engage in experiential learning. In my horticulture class, I am able to apply the skills I have learned to create beautiful floral arrangements. In addition, in my applied horticulture class, my peers and I applied our arboriculture skills as we put our knowledge and skills to the test by climbing trees.
The FFA is an intracurricular organization that helps me and my peers develop premier leadership, personal growth, and career success. Through conferences, career development events, and other chapter activities, I am developing into a productive citizen in my community.
Through my placement SAE, I work for a local carpenter where I receive on-the-job training for a possible future career. There are other types of SAEs that my peers participate in, such as entrepreneurship, research, and exploratory. Through these experiences, we connect what we learn in the classroom to real-life experience.
Tying it all together is the Living to Serve component. Here, I'm able to combine my classroom instruction, supervised agriculture experience, and FFA into helping others develop their communities through agriculture. Due to this different curriculum that our ag teachers teach us, my skills can be used throughout the world.
If you want to learn how to better yourself, come on down to the Ag Department. By joining our program, you'll be able to
Learn to do, doing to learn,
earn to live,
And live to serve.
So that's just one example a recruitment video that can be used. It should be created by your students to kind of signify what they think your ag program is like. Gives them a little hands-on experiences and is able to let them be creative. So let's recap about our first objective. We talked about my philosophy, my total program plan, and some classroom management strategies that I would like to incorporate. So what does that mean? Can I please have a volunteer? Julia. Awesome. So Julia's going to come on down, and she's actually going to reach into my special treasure chest. Now, Julia, you're really lucky, okay? Because you're the only one that gets to look at that, because you were the only one that volunteered. All right, are you ready for this? You're going to grab number 1. All right, let's come over here. All right, Julia, will you grab number 1 for me, please? All right, and what is that?
A makeup mirror.
Yep, exactly. Awesome. Yes, it is right. This isn't actually a mirror. I know it has makeup in it. This is the only little mirror that I had. What kind of signifies who I aspire to be as a teacher is actually my reflection. I want to look at myself every day in the mirror and be like, you know what? I've grown as a person today. I've grown as a teacher. I've grown as a friend. So I aspire to be somebody that is constantly growing and constantly perfecting my skills so to be the best teacher that I can be. So that is object number 1 that is in my treasure chest that I have. Moving on to the second objective, what opportunities have I engaged in to become a better educator? This is kind of where I'm going to talk about my agriculture courses that I've taken here at Penn State and how they've kind of applied to what I'm going to be teaching next semester. So in our agriculture education courses, we have several classes that we are allowed to take, that we have to take actually, to graduate. So a lot of them kind of teach about some agriculture implementations, as well as how we can work to create our SAE plans, our program activities, just basically get us prepared for next semester whenever we start student teaching and graduation. Some coursework that I've taken here at Penn State are listed right there. I've really enjoyed taking classes inside of the College of Agriculture as well as outside. We're supposed to bring in something that we've done here at Penn State, and I actually created this flower arrangement. Actually last week is my final presentation. So this is something that I can incorporate whenever I graduate and have a flower arranging class. I can teach them the skills that I learned here at Penn State and then apply that in the future. Some classes outside the College of Agriculture Science, I had some educational theory, psychology classes, and workforce ed class. But the one that I actually take away the most is my English technical writing, which is English 202C. What I really enjoyed about the class is that it made me prepared to write memos, be prepared to write letters to parents, as well as some grant writing that I could be doing in my future. So it really applies to what I'll be doing. Some certifications as I've been here. This has been a process, but it has been a really awesome experience trying to get all these certifications. I'm first aid and CPR certified, as well as I have a National Safe Tractor Machinery Operation Program Community News Instructor certification. Thank you, Dr. Ewing, for that. So it was really cool. I actually got to drive a tractor here at State College High, and I got to kind of see how the course is designed, what it takes to actually teach students how to drive a tractor. It was really interesting to learn how to do that. Some professional development that I've had. Before I came to fall semester here, I had attended the PAAE summer conference. I noticed like the front title screen that you guys saw. I actually learned how to design that with a technical class, Diane Block-Corbin, which is a teacher in Pennsylvania. She taught that. And so it was really interesting just trying to get a different perspective about using technology in my classroom and incorporating that. I've also attended National FFA Convention. This year, I went to Louisville, Kentucky with some of my students that I'll be teaching next semester. But last year, I was a National TCHAG ambassador, so I was able to work at the National TCHAG campaign booth and kind of talk about ag and try to pull people into majoring in agriculture education whenever they went to college. Next, I was actually a social media intern for the Chicago Council on Global Affairs. I was able to actually live web stream in what we're doing right now to what they were talking about with global affairs last year. And so I was able to live tweet, pull people in, pull businesses in to talk about what is going on in the world today. And then last but not least, I recommend this to everybody, the Global Learning Agriculture Conference. I'll be being a part of that, and I'll actually be giving a presentation during that conference, which will be held in January. Some experiences that I've had in agriculture education, we like to have the most bang for your buck. So we had a domestic study away, and I was able to go to Colorado last year, or 2 years ago, with Ag Ed. And so it was really cool because I got to see different perspectives about different ag classes that they can teach, as well as an urban and rural setting ag classroom. So that was my big takeaway from there. As well as another experience that I had, which I completed this past summer, was I actually spent 5.5 weeks in San Jose, Secrets, Belize, doing some undergrad research. It was a really cool opportunity for me to get my feet a little bit in doing international work and trying to see what I can do on a global scale instead of just keeping it here in Pennsylvania. So I was able to interview some community leaders, as well as see if we can start a 4-H program in San Jose, Secrets, Belize for the youth, to teach them about agriculture, to teach them about some of the skills that they could learn. All right, so next, we're going to recap again about our second objective. I just talked to you guys about professional development, all my certifications, my experiences that I had. So can I have another volunteer, please? JC. Awesome. JC, will you pull number 2 out? Just go around to the back. Perfect. And pull out number 2. And can you share what that is?
Oh, it's a picture of Olivia.
Yeah? Awesome. Cool, yes. Jason, thank you. You can take a seat. This is a picture of me in Belize, actually. This was probably one of the biggest things I've taken away of the opportunities that I've engaged in to become a better educator, is I was able to go to Belize, and these are some of the goofball kids I was able to hang out with and talk to them about agriculture. And it was just like the best experience for me for my career moving on forward, because it has made me have a passion for international agriculture and teaching students across the world about ag. And last but not least, how am I prepared to maximize my student teaching experience next semester? I will be teaching at Walter Middlesall High School, which is in Philadelphia. My cooperating teachers are Tiffany Turrentine and Jessica McGadney, and there's over 500 students that are enrolled in the agriculture classes. So I know people have a lot of questions like, wait, you're in Philadelphia, there's no farms in Philly. It's actually kind of cool. Philadelphia has a lot of pastures. They have a horse barn, they have a pig barn, a dairy barn, lots of opportunities for ag for students that live in an urban area. So students, some students travel 2 hours every day just to get to school to learn about agriculture. So it provides me with a unique opportunity to teach a different style of students in general. An evaluation of the program that I saw, I had to have some checks whenever I went to WVSOL, just to make sure that I was looking at their strengths and weaknesses and what I saw from their program. So their strengths is that they have resources and materials. They have a lot of land and facilities for their students, and they have a great teaching staff. The teaching staff of over 13 people. It is actually really cool to see the diversity of where those different teachers came from. Some weaknesses that I did see, though, was that the enrollment of the program was low for their freshman incoming class this year. They said that it has been happening, it's a growing trend that less students are becoming engaged in agriculture, as well as the SAE integration has been a tough part for them to incorporate in their program. All right, so whenever I was getting all of my stuff ready to go student teach, I had to make a calendar, I had to make binders, I had to just make myself very organized before I left. So here is just an example of my master calendar that I have. It combines when we'll be doing certain activities, so this will go into farm show that week, and what units I'll be teaching for my 12th grade agroecology class and my 10th grade animal science class. So my course of study, like I said, mentioned before, teaching animal science and agroecology. These are just some of the units that I'll be teaching next semester, and I have them all organized up in binders if you'd like to take a look at them. So the organization of my binders is pretty interesting, actually. I wanted to make sure that it was easy to read and that it was just easy for our professors to grade as well. So what I have is I have my units in one tab, and then I have my summative assessments, and then all of my lesson plans that I'll be teaching in this tab. So if you'd like to take a look, pass that around. It just keeps me being accountable for what I'm teaching and where I'm at in my lesson planning. All right, so moving on to my personal evaluation. This is where I was able to take a step back, take a look about what I've learned over this semester, and kind of just base where I'm at. So some strengths, I'm determined, I have a positive attitude, I'm outgoing if you've ever met me, and I'm inclusive. Some weaknesses that I do have, though, that I want to work on before I graduate is my time management. Not be so hard on myself. And then try not to people please as much. I need to get things done next semester, and sometimes people just have to take it and move on. Alright, so our last item that we are going to grab out of my treasure chest, can I please have one last volunteer? Elle. Perfect. Elle, will you please go up to the front, go walk around, and pull item number 3 and let the class know what it is.
It's a flower.
It is a flower. Thank you, Elle. Alright, so for my last item that I have in my teacher treasure box is a flower. This next semester, I thought that the flower was the best way to symbolize where I'm going to be at. It's because I want to grow as a teacher. I want to grow as a person professionally and personally. So I thought the flower would be the best way to symbolize that. Alright, so overall, it has been a great semester with my student teaching cohort. I have learned so much from other people as well as learned about myself. So it's been a great time just kind of like doing some self-reflection. So without further ado, I would like to show you guys what this actually was. All of those items that you guys saw that I pulled out is actually a part of my teacher toolbox. This is what I want to carry with me all next semester and even whenever I graduate. I want to make sure that I incorporate who I am, what I've learned here at Penn State throughout my career, and I want to make sure that I never forget my hashtag PSU AgEd 16 cohort members. So I want to open up the floor for some questions, and I would like to thank you all again for coming and watching me present for my senior presentation.
Let's show our appreciation for Olivia. Now we will be taking questions from our virtual audience, our live audience, and our teacher education panel. And so we will start now with the live audience. Is there anybody in the audience who has a question? We'll rotate among the group. Question from the audience? Okay, we'll come back to you. Y'all can prep up. Olivia, I've got several questions for you to work through. One of them, I'd like for you to speak to how you contributed to the cohort.
Cohort?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was your contribution to that community of learners?
Okay. I would say that I was throughout this semester, I've been very inclusive with all of my cohort members. I've been outgoing, and I've just been open and honest with some of them. If they needed help with materials, if they needed any other advice, things that they would possibly need, I always made sure that I was there to be there for them. So I would say that my biggest contribution would be just being a good friend, I would say.
Excellent. We'll now go to the virtual audience. Question from the virtual audience?
Olivia, one question. What unit are you most excited to teach and why?
Ooh. I think the unit that I'm most excited to teach, and actually this is kind of interesting, is my geology and minerals unit. It's with my agroecology class. I actually don't really know that much about geology and minerals, and I think it'll push me as an educator and as a student as well to make sure that I know my content knowledge before I teach my students about what geology and minerals are.
Now back to the live audience. Anybody in the audience have a question?
Yes, Emily.
What's your favorite subject within ag?
I would say my favorite is like in high school or is in college?
Just in college. Just like a college class that you really enjoyed.
I would say that I really enjoyed my animal science 201 class. It taught me a lot about different animals and different labs that I can teach my students, and so it kind of like let me have this diverse thought process about okay, even though this is really hard material, I can make it easy for my students to understand. And I'm excited to see the light bulbs go off next semester whenever I teach that.
Thank you. Teacher education panel.
Okay, so in your presentation you mentioned that you did a Chapter 339 review,
Yes.
Which is great, of your school, and you found that SAE implementation seemed to be a potential
Right.
concern.
Okay.
So hypothetically, you go into your first year of teaching program, you get there, and the administration totally understands classroom lab instruction. They totally get the importance of FFA and implementing that. But they're not quite sure on this SAE, and they're seeing that as a extra expense. You're talking about extended contract because you have to make these visits through the summer, and something about the fair. How do you approach that with them and say, this is an integral part of the program, and what evidence do you provide to support your your discussion with them.
Okay. Let's see here. I think the best thing for me to possibly do as a first step, I'm going to just list steps of what I would do as a teacher. The first step would be show them my program plan and show them what I have come prepared with, and show them that it is an integral part of my program. I'll be open and honest about what actually, what happens whenever students do an SAE and why I would need an extended contract to help my students progress with their projects. I would also, then another next step, show them the career possibilities that my students could do after they graduated from our program, and how they're being a part of their community by having these SAE projects. And then, well, there was another part of your question, I believe.
Well, it was along the evidence of.
The evidence?
Yeah.
The evidence would I be bringing community members, as well as the school board is made up of community members, at least there should be. No? Okay, well.
No,
Okay, yeah.
I just thought you were going to use another word even to advance community members. What type of?
Your ag
group?
advisory committee,
Oh,
yes.
yes, thank you. So an ag
Yes.
advisory committee could be a huge
A
help with
huge
that.
integral part of why it is important to have SAE. Sorry,
You got it, you just forgot the
forgot
terminology.
the terminology.
Okay, while our live audience waits, I'm going to ask you two questions that go together, okay?
Okay.
I need you to answer for me. What does it mean to recruit representative populations?
Okay. What does it mean? Okay. Can we answer that now and we'll do
Yeah,
second
why don't we
question
do that
later?
one at a time?
Okay, that sounds good. So what does it mean to recruit
Representative populations.
representative populations? So that would be populations within the school district, as in, like, the demographics? Is that what you're asking?
You tell me, what does it mean to recruit representative populations?
Alright, that's fine. So it means that you need to look at your program and your school as a whole and see where, like, what kind of student populations that you do have. And then look at the community and try to see what target audiences we are not reaching to, and see how we can better our program by bringing in those different communities of people for our program.
So tell me how you're prepared to work with diverse learners in diverse populations.
Right, I think next semester will definitely be a good proving point for me of going into inner city Philadelphia. So that is going to be just a little bit of culture shock, I think. So I think a lot will come out of my experience, but how I'm preparing for it, that's your question, right?
How are you prepared to work with diverse learners and populations?
I would say having all of my experiences that I've had is going to come down to this next semester. I've worked with different communities on an international level as well as here at Penn State, and so it's made me open-minded and open for change, open for looking at other people's perspectives, and then bringing it all together into next semester. So I believe, just being open-minded and being prepared and researching what's going to happen, I'll be prepared that way.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the live audience? It's your turn now.
Give me anything, by the way.
It's okay.
And then Sarah, sorry.
What was your favorite learning experience when being in Belize?
In Belize? Patience was definitely the thing that I learned. It's interesting coming into a community and you being the newbie there. You have to make yourself known to the community, go to different events, and listen to what they have to say before even addressing some changes that they could make. So just being a part of the community, being patient with my end result was definitely the hardest things. Sarah.
So you're going to be working in one of the largest ag programs in the nation and with one of the biggest FFA programs too. So what are you most excited about, going to such a large program?
I'm excited just about all of the ideas and the creativity that the students are going to bring. Walter Biddlesall actually created an agriculture rap video. It's up on YouTube. So it's just really cool to see the diverse student population that I'm not used to, and seeing how I can be a part of that as well. Yeah. Yes.
How do you plan on competing with other core classes that school boards and parents demand, such as chemistry, biology, physics? That would be 3 years of science right there.
Mm-hmm.
On top, and then how do you get people to stay within the program and not only just take that freshman year course where they have more choice in the matter, but how do you keep them until senior year?
It's like a retention. I would say agriculture offers some unique opportunities where in high school you can get college credits for classes that you can take in a high high school level. So that's just ideas like how we compete with the biologies, the sciences, the mathematics. So it just offers a unique opportunity where students can come into college already having these credits in ag. And then it also say just making sure that you're current and relevant in your program will also help with your retention. Like you need to be up to date on your facts, bring in different lab materials, bring in different things to help keep your program interesting. I would say it's going to be the right way to keep those students that you want or that want to be there as well. So.
Olivia, you're going into a very unique setting where you mentioned there are 13 teachers. So explain to me how effective communication in such a setting is essential in a productive workplace.
Okay. Yeah, with the 13 teachers, it's been interesting to look how they communicate to each other and see how they interact. They have, at Walter Middle they have different career pathways. So they can have animal science, their environmental science option, food science, and landscaping and horticulture options. So each of those 4 pathways, there's teachers in those 4 different areas. Those teachers communicate to each other in those areas, and then they all come together as one cohesive body. So there's open. I would say that there's open communication, and they do a great job at doing that.
So speak to a little bit to how you were in a similar setting, or even just 2 or 3 fellow teachers in a program.
Great.
What would that effective communication look like?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
What would the effective communication look like?
Look like with the 2 different teachers?
Yeah, or however many.
Okay. As regarding like emails and like.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So like they have sorry. I'm just making sure I'm understanding the question correctly. They have monthly meetings within their school. Then they meet together to discuss in those different career pathways, and then they all come together. It's something like committees, and then have like one big organization body. So that's kind of how they do it there.
Olivia, philosophical question for you. Should a teacher attempt to have students in all career development events?
Personally, I would say no. I would say that students need to focus on their interests, as well as focus on their career goals that they would like to have in the end after they graduate. So by helping the students see what they would like to do, push them and to be successful in those CDE events is the best route for them just to be one. So.
Any questions from the teacher education panel? John's tapping out. Dr. Ross? From the audience? Last question. Why should an administrator hire you?
That is a loaded question right there. Let's see. An administrator should hire me because I believe that I bring a well-rounded program to a school, as well as I provide a global perspective for my students. I bring not only statewide agriculture, but I provide a global-wide agriculture curriculum because I've had the experiences through Penn State and through my research. So I believe that I provide a unique situation for an administrator to hire me because I have all the experiences that I've had.
Wonderful. Round of applause for Olivia. Thank you for coming and joining into our educational presentations. Tomorrow we start at 8:45 with Sarah Beth Royer. We know that's going to be a great time. Look forward to you coming back and joining us. At this time, feel free to go grab a bottle of water or a drink from Ferguson 214, but we do need to clear the room, turn off the recording devices, and complete the evaluation process with Miss Murphy.
Thank you.